Breece Hall looked like an absolute rock star in week one. We'll discuss the biggest winners and losers from this week next.
You are Locked On Dynasty Football, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We'd like to thank you for making us your first listen of the day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Welcome back. I am your host, Marcus Mosher. He is Michael Fabiano. And on today's show, we're taking a look at some of the biggest standouts and some players that we're a little bit nervous about coming out of week one. And Faz, we've got to start with the New York Jets because all offseason long, I've been just dogging Breece Hall. I've been trying to trade him away in every league. I didn't want him. I thought the dynasty value was going to crater as soon as the season started. And it still might, but I don't feel as strong about that take now because he looked unbelievable against the Steelers.
I was right there with you, concerned about the workload. He played 36 snaps. He was very efficient, scoring over 16 fantasy points. You know, Braylon Allen played 19 snaps, but he was terrible when it came to the actual numbers. He scored a touchdown, and that was basically all he did. Isaiah Davis only played 8 snaps in the game. You know, different coaching staff, different offensive coordinator. It's one game. But it was certainly a positive if you have Breece Hall. And oh, by the way, the Jets play Buffalo next week, and they just got smoked by Derrick Henry. So you could get a nice start to the season for Breece Hall. For those of us who thought Braylon Allen might have some sleeper appeal, listen, you're not going to cut him. I mean, he's too young of a running back. You're not going to cut him. But you may want to tap the brakes on that just a little bit because Breece Hall, again, looked very good. Was utilized a little bit in the passing game too, had 4 targets in the game. So if you've got Breece, you're feeling pretty good about him going into week 2.
He just looked like he had his juice back. Honestly, that was the biggest takeaway. I don't even care about the fantasy numbers necessarily. I mean, he did have a good fantasy day, but he just looked explosive. He was making some unbelievable cuts in the hole. He was getting to the second level, and that's with the Jets losing their best offensive lineman, Elijah Vera Tucker, just a couple days before kickoff. I feel much better about the situation. We should talk about the Jets offense as a whole because I thought that offense looked really good. And Justin Fields was very, very solid this one. I liked the game plan. I thought the play calling was very good in this one. Unfortunately, they had a kickoff where the guy muffed the kickoff or fumbled the ball, took away a possession. But other than that, the Jets moved the ball up and down the field against the Steelers defense.
What's crazy is that the total in that game was 37.5.
I know.
Both teams scored over 30 points individually. So normally Vegas is pretty good. Vegas was not good in this one. And I had said, I like Justin Fields. I said it in the preseason. I didn't like him this week because it was Pittsburgh. And I'm shocked that Pittsburgh gave up that many points, especially with the talent that they acquired in the offseason. It was very shocking to me. But if this is what and Justin Fields not going to do this every week, but if Justin Fields, can give us a floor of 12 to 15 and a ceiling well over 20, he's going to be fine this season, folks. And one of the things that I took away from this game was that thank God I drafted Garrett Wilson when everyone else wanted to pass on him. Yeah. And it's 1 week, but targets matter. There's nobody else on that team. Did you look at the numbers? There's nobody else on that team that's getting targeted more than Garrett Wilson, and that's going to be the case the entire season. And once again, you go against the Bills team that just gave up how many points to Zay Flowers? So you're going to be looking, if you're a fantasy manager with Jets, and I'm not talking about Mason Taylor right now, you know who I'm talking about, Fields, Hall, Garrett Wilson, you're feeling pretty good about the situation. Hell, their kicker had a good game. I mean, Nick Folk had a good game for the Jets. So the men in green were very fantasy friendly.
One of the things that's really interesting about week one is we talk all offseason about what these backfields might look like and the splits and who's going to be the lead back. And then we quickly find out, and we did in Jacksonville here in week one, Travis Etienne, 16 carries for 143 yards. Tank Bigsby got 5 carries, did not receive a target in the passing game. Bashal Tutin got 3 carries, Quinn Allen even got a single touch. And then we had Travis Etienne also had three catches for 13 yards. Didn't do a ton of the passing game, but no targets for Tank Bigsby, no targets for Breece Tootin. It seems like as of right now that Travis Etienne is the clear-cut RB1 in Jacksonville.
And if that's going to be the case, he's going to be an absolute steal in drafts across the board. Because, I mean, I remember back to the preseason game against New Orleans where, like, Tank Bigsby was the starter. And see, that's why folks like Marcus and I can analyze and do whatever we want in terms of, what happens in the preseason. Things change week one, man. I mean,
that's what we said. I remember we did an episode. I said, if you just didn't watch any of the preseason, more often than not, you're actually going to be better than your league mates that overreact to who got the first touch in a preseason game. A lot of it's just extra noise.
Yeah, look at Trevion Henderson. Like Stevenson, he scored more points than Stevenson, but Stevenson outsnapped him. So he was on the field more often. Now, we'll get all into that kind of thing, as the weeks go on. But week one, Etienne looked like the 2023 dude who is one of the 5 or 6 best running backs in fantasy football, and Tank Bigsby looked like a backup. And I mean, Allen played more snaps than Tootin. So I mean, like, oops, okay.
Yeah.
Things change. Obviously, we're not going to go in and think, oh, now Travis Etienne's going to be the dude every single week. Good matchup upcoming against Cincinnati in a battle of the Cats. But as Dylan Sampson, how many touches and targets did he have in that game?
Just relax.
And by the way, my guy Quinshawn is going to be back maybe this week. So I literally looked at every single league that I have, which is, there's a few dynasty and most redrafts. Bro, I have him in like 90% of my leagues. I'm hoping
we'll get
that
to Cleveland.
I'm hoping that works out. Yes, but Jacksonville's backfield gave us clarity, if not for just 1 week. And now okay, Etienne's going to be RB2 flex. Bigsby's got to be on the bench. And Tootin's not even close.
One more note from the Jacksonville game that I think is at least worth mentioning. Travis Hunter was a full-time slot receiver for the Jags in week one. He actually led the team in targets with 8, only 6 catches for 33 yards. But it seems like if this is the plan going forward, not only is he going to be a super valuable dynasty asset as a receiver, he might be the most valuable asset in this Jacksonville offense because we know what Liam Cohen can do for slot receivers. Travis Hunter, again, while he didn't look great in week one, I think he's a big winner because of the usage.
How about Brian Thomas? I mean, if he hadn't rushed for that touchdown, I mean, he would and that was the theme of this week. A lot of the elite wide receivers did nothing. I mean, nothing. Like I posted something on X where Zay Flowers alone outscored, the combined points of like Jamar Chase and Terry McLaurin and AJ Brown. It was a whole bunch of them. It was just bananas. It was crazy. So, that's a good thing if he's going to be playing and running more routes out of the slot. Jacksonville drives me nuts because of Trevor Lawrence, though. He drives me nuts.
I know.
Because Trevor Lawrence is he's like the Kyle Pitts of quarterbacks. We've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and he's showing some flashes, and we're waiting. And when you start him against Carolina, he does nothing. And so Lawrence is just a guy I don't know that I can trust. And I do worry that the inconsistencies are going to hit, especially with Hunter. Hopefully Brian Thomas bounces back and he gets more targets than he did this past week. But I wonder if Hunter's going to be consistent enough to start him every single week. We're going to find out about that. The good news, I think he played 6 defensive snaps. I think it was.
Yeah,
it was not a lot.
No.
So he was very focused on being a wide receiver.
And honestly, I didn't think he looked great on those defensive snaps. I just think they're going to lean into him being an offensive playmaker right now. And then we'll see about the cornerback stuff down the line. So if you were aggressive and drafted Travis Hunter early in your rookie drafts, I think it's going to pay off for you. Let's talk about some new look offenses, including the Cleveland Browns and the Indianapolis Colts. We will get to that next. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the daily fantasy app where making the right call can actually pay off. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right means cashing in. With football back, Prize Picks is the simplest and fastest way to get in on the action. All you have to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections, and you can turn your takes into real prizes all in less than 60 seconds. It's quick, it's easy, and honestly, it's my favorite way to follow along with all the action on Sundays. I love checking the projections Sunday morning, seeing what's out there, going through them all. It's so much fun. So go download the PrizePicks app today and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. This episode is brought to you by Upside. Hey, Locked On Dynasty fans, are you still paying full price for gas? Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use our limited time promo code Touchdown to get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. And you can make up to $300 a year from just buying the gas that you were already buying. At first, I get it. It sounds too good to be true, but it's totally legit. Real people are cashing in just to do their daily commutes. And you can too. You can cash out at any time to your bank account, PayPal, or e-gift card. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now using our limited time promo code Touchdown for a limited time 25 cents per gallon bonus. That is promo code Touchdown. Offer varies by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. Welcome back to the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast. We'd like to thank you for making us your first listen of the day. Faz, let's talk about the Browns. I know you're really giddy to talk about this offense. Now, they only scored 16 points, but they ran a ton of plays. Joe Flacco, 31 of 45, 290 yards. He did throw two interceptions, but they were both ones that clanked off a wide receiver's hands and popped up in the air. So, honestly, I wouldn't overreact to Flacco's interceptions at all. What was your biggest takeaway from this offense?
I don't even know if I can narrow it down to just one, to be quite honest with you. But I mean, my boy Cedric Tillman, who I told people to go out and grab late, had a really good game. He actually was one of the players whose hands the ball clanked off of, and Flacco was picked off. But we got to talk about the backfield, because you and I both talked about how it was going to be Jerome Ford and Dylan Sampson. We didn't know who was going to get used how. Sampson, I believe, ended up being the starter in that game. He didn't do anything on the ground. He was really ineffective on the ground, but he had 8 catches for 64 yards and scored over 17 fantasy points. And so that's huge. But as I mentioned, Judkins could be here in week 2, and I'm very excited about it. Listen, he may not get all the touches. They may have to utilize him and kind of give him a little bit of, couple of weeks here where he can just build himself back up to playing in football shape. But now I think we have what the Browns backfield is going to be. It's going to be Judkins, who's going to be the early down back. He'll be the goal line back. And Sampson's going to be the change of pace kind of guy, the guy who they're going to utilize as a pass catcher. So I think that's going to Jerome Ford. I mean, to me, even though he played more snaps than Sampson in the game, hasta la vista, baby. He's done. From a dynasty perspective, if you started him this week, well, you got a 1.5. Sorry about your luck. But Judkins is the lead back here when he is, and we know that he's signed, when he's back and ready to go. And they've got a matchup upcoming against Baltimore, and Baltimore's defense didn't look real good against the run in that wild game on Sunday night. I don't know that I'm starting Judkins just yet.
I wouldn't start anybody on this offense against Baltimore next week.
But Sampson is a startable asset, especially if Johnson's not going to play or if he's going to be limited. So we got a little clarity on the backfield. Certainly, but I think that's what you're going to see now. It's going to be Judkins when he's ready to roll, and Sampson as the third down back, change of pace type back.
My biggest takeaway was that Harold Fannin is going to be a featured part of this offense, and we should have been listening to Kevin Stefanski when they were talking about like, hey, Fannin is going to be a key cog in this unit, and we saw it in week 1. I mean, he had 9 targets, which was the most on the team. He also got a carry. They were using him as a wildcat quarterback. 7 receptions for 63 yards. it's clear that they love him, and they're going to play David Njoku and Harold Fannin together. They're going to use a lot of 2 tight end sets, and they can move Fannin around as a H-back, as a fullback, as an inline guy, as a slot guy. Harold Fannin was somebody who not a lot of people thought would be a top 100 pick in the NFL draft, but the Browns were aggressive going out and getting him. He fits this Kevin Stefanski offense really well. And I'm not saying that you should go out and now move Fannin ahead of David Njoku in your dynasty drafts, but I'm not saying that you shouldn't either. Like it's crazy how I thought Fannin looked awesome on Sunday.
If you drafted him, you're really happy because remember, Njoku is a free agent at the end of the season, and so chances are Njoku is either traded or walks after the season. Then Fannin takes over, and then maybe you have a top 10 fantasy tight end for a long, long time. He played 55 snaps, which was 9 fewer than Njoku. I was just shocked that he had 9 targets. Njoku was my start of the week at tight end, and I ended up being right. A Browns tight end was really good. It just wasn't him. But this muddies the water. David Njoku came into the season as a tight end 1. And now, if he's in a committee, which this may end up being, and the Browns have to throw the ball a lot, they also have Jerry Jeudy, who had a ho-hum game. They have Cedric Tillman, who had a pretty good game.
Jeudy dropped several passes in this game.
Yeah.
Like from a fantasy point, it was perspective, it was fine, but from a real life, he was bad.
They have options in the passing game, and Samson, obviously, who had 8 catches, is also part of that equation. So that muddies the water for this Browns pass attack. Like, is Jeudy going to be the guy every week? It was someone else. It was Tillman in the game yesterday. Is it going to be Njoku, or it's going to be a coin flip? Yeah. So as great as this is, and the emergence of Fannin in 1 week, it's only 1 week, so I'm not going to get nuts. From a dynasty perspective, you feel good about it, but boy, oh boy, this could end up being one of the most difficult offenses to figure out on a week-to-week basis when you have 2 tight ends in a committee in a 12 personnel type offense, plus a couple of wide receivers who could see 8+ targets in any given week. And then you throw Samson into the mix. And then when Judkins comes back, this one could be an Excedrin headache sort of offense for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and we should also mention like Isaiah Bond, who they just signed a couple of weeks ago. He was active. He got a carry in this game. Like, I think he's only going to get more involved as the season goes on. This is going to be a tough offense to figure out, but I think there is a chance that it could be decent if they can get good quarterback play or average quarterback play. And honestly, I think Flacco can do it in spurts. We'll see if he can do it throughout the course of the season. One other offense that I wanted to talk about was the Indianapolis Colts. They named Daniel Jones the starter a few weeks ago. And Fabs, I don't want to pat myself on the back too hard, but Daniel Jones was my pick of the week as the guy that I thought you needed to start in every format. And he was phenomenal. 22 of 29 for 272 yards, 1 touchdown, also ran for 2 touchdowns. This Colts offense moved the ball up and down the field on every possession that Daniel Jones was on the field. The Colts scored points. And I know this is Miami's defense. We shouldn't overreact too much. But Daniel Jones looked like an NFL quarterback who can make actual NFL touch throws. And they just weren't getting that at all last year from Anthony Richardson.
Listen, he was excellent. Michael Pittman had a big game. Tyler Warren, baby. I told you. I know. Yeah. I get this. Listen, it's 1 week. We all get excited, right? We're dumb. Like that. We were just all excited like little kids on Christmas morning. But Warren's going to be a top 10, top 12 tight end this season. And maybe every year for the rest of his career until he hits 30, right? I mean, he just looks like that kind of dude. Daniel Jones has weapons. Daniel Jones played the Dolphins, just like you said. They've got Denver coming up next. I'm not playing Daniel Jones against the Denver Broncos.
No.
But he has proven, if nothing else, that when the matchup is right, Daniel Jones is a viable option for you. I'm not saying he's going to finish in the top 10. I'm not saying he's going to finish in the top 15 at quarterback this season. Although after that one big performance, he's got a head start on a top 15 finish. But he now is a guy that we're not laughing at. And he's a player that you could legitimately play when the matchup's right. I mean, I talked about how I would have played him over Dak Prescott. I had him ranked, I think, 17th among quarterbacks. Obviously, it wasn't high enough, but how high was I going to go in week 1 with Daniel Jones?
Honestly, for me, it almost has nothing to do with Daniel Jones's dynasty value because I don't think he really has any outside of being a spot starter, depending on the matchup. But I think what's to me more encouraging is that like Michael Pittman got 8 targets, caught 6 of them for 80 yards and a touchdown. Tyler Warren got 7 targets, and they were all very high quality targets. Alex Pierce got a target down the field. We saw Jonathan
not
Taylor.
so much, but unfortunately,
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor ran the ball well. Like he's not a great quarterback, but he's functional enough to let the rest of the weapons be good on offense. And that's all the Colts have been wanting for the last couple of years.
Yep. I sure would like to see them trade Anthony Richardson at some point, though. Give him a chance to go someplace else.
To play what? Like tight end somewhere?
I don't know. Whatever, man. Listen, we're talking about fantasy here, and he can actually be halfway decent in fantasy. We've got a few backup quarterbacks around the league that I wouldn't mind playing starting role someplace else. Jameis, New Orleans, Kirk Cousins,
Giants.
I digress.
All right, let's talk about some offenses that we are a little concerned about coming out of week 1, including the team that the Colts played. We will get to that next. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. The NFL season is back, and honestly, there's nothing better than being in the stadium surrounded by fans cheering on your team. But let's be honest, getting tickets can be a hassle between long lines, login screens, prices jumping at checkout. It's all so frustrating, but that's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Game Time is fast, easy, and backed by the Game Time guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. And plus, all fees are included, so the price that you see is the price that you pay. I was actually looking at tickets to go to the Bills-Ravens game on Sunday in the Game Time app. They were very affordable. I saw some amazing deals. I really wish I would have gone. Now that would have been so much fun. But Game Time makes it easy to find tickets for your favorite team in your favorite stadium. And honestly, it's faster, cheaper, and less stressful than any other way that I've ever bought tickets before. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that is promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go download Game Time today. Welcome back to the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast. We'd like to thank you for making us your first listen of the day. For your second listen, check out the Locked On NFL Podcast, which has 2 shows every single day now. Tyler, the Madman Roland, gives you a shot of NFL espresso to start your football day, while Tony Wiggins takes you to the barbershop for the smoothest breakdowns to end the day. Find Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. All right, Fabs, let's talk about the Miami Dolphins, who I thought they were going to come in here and have a good day offensively. Not the case. Tua, 14-23, 114 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Devon Etienne ran for 55 yards, but they had 12 carries in this game. Tyreek Hill was frustrated. Jalen Waddle got a little bit banged up. How nervous are you about the Dolphins?
I am nervous. And I don't think Mike McDaniel is going to be the head coach beyond September. To be honest with you, maybe he holds on until the end of October. They look discombobulated and they have talent. And Tyreek Hill was on the sidelines, not happy. And if that kind of stuff continues, it's not good for the locker room, and it's not good for the locker room. It's not good for the team. And that means they're going to come out and not play well. Now, typically Tua is better at home than he has been on the road. But I mean, the Colts defense is no great shakes at all. And so for him to come out and do this was very surprising. I didn't love him this week, but I didn't think he'd score 5 points. And I didn't think that Tyreek and Jalen Waddle would both be held under double digits. This is a team that's in trouble. And how about Mike McCarthy going to Miami? I don't know, maybe, but maybe not. I don't know. But the bottom line here is that Tyreek had a bad year in 2024. His first game in 2025, not good. Tua was up and down last year when he played. He was very inconsistent. We saw the same thing. It mirrored last year's offense where Etienne was really the only guy that you can trust outside of Jonnu Smith in the second half of the season. And Jonnu is bye-bye. Darren Waller's no longer an option, I don't think, from a fantasy perspective. He didn't play this week. I don't know how much he's going to help this offense. I certainly don't think he's going to help dynasty managers. So this one's rough because you think of the Dolphins and you think offense, and you think their defense is going to be bad. Their offense is going to have to score points. Their defense was bad. Their offense did nothing. So I'm worried outside of Etienne. I'm not worried about Etienne. I have no issues with him.
The only thing I worry about is the offensive line had some injuries. That's the offensive line continues to be a problem.
I'm talking about like, durability maybe, but I'm talking about just like the offense. Like he's still going to get his. They got to utilize him. They've got the Patriots coming up next. I mean, the jury's still out kind of on the Patriots defense. They did a big game to Geno Smith. So maybe Tua bounces back. It's a home game. So I'm not throwing Miami's offense completely out the door yet. It's 1 week, but it was a bad week.
Yeah. I would be shocked if Tyreek Hill finishes the year on the Dolphins. Like it just seems like a breakup is coming. He's pouting on the sideline.
Who would want him though? Like he's such a headache. You know what I mean? Like, but I get it. I get what you're saying.
Well, I mean, the obvious team that everybody has been pointing out is the Chiefs, and it makes sense, right? Like if Xavier Worthy is going to miss time, as we're recording this podcast, we don't know.
That was so terrible.
I know. Trust me, I know.
So bummed out.
It sounds like he's going to at least go on the injured reserve list, miss 4 games. And with the Chiefs schedule that they have coming up, they play the Eagles this week. They got the Ravens coming up in a couple of weeks. Like, I don't know if they can afford to go into the next couple of games with Hollywood Brown, Juju, and Tyquan Thornton as the receivers. Like I don't think they can do that. I think we're going to see Tyreek Hill get moved. We'll see Jalen Waddle become the wide receiver 1 in Miami. But who's calling the plays? Because Mike McDaniel, for all of his faults, I do think he's a pretty good play caller. This was just a really, really rough game. I want to go to one more offense real quick, and that's the Houston Texans. They scored 9 points. All of them came in the first half against the Los Angeles Rams. CJ Stroud, 19 of 27, 188 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. Nick Chubb did get the most work here, 13 carries for 60 yards. They lost multiple offensive linemen due to injuries. This was already a bad offensive line to begin with, but this is an offense that doesn't look anything like what we saw in year 1 under CJ Stroud.
No, it did not. We already know that the offensive line has question marks. Nick Chubb was not horrible. I mean, from a fantasy perspective, he did nothing. He was somewhat efficient and effective, but he just didn't get a lot of touches. I mean, Nico Collins did nothing in this game. This is problematic for Houston. And if they don't have a backfield situation that is consistent, which I don't know that they will until Joe Mixon comes back, and I don't know if he is coming back. And I'm not worried about Nico. Okay, Nico will get his. But you're looking at a team that really, honestly, how many players on this roster do you trust as a weekly fantasy starter in Houston? 1. That's it. That's all they have is Nico Collins. That's it. And he had a stink bomb yesterday. Even Dalton Schultz, Cade Stover played more snaps than Schultz yesterday in that game. Yep. So, I mean, okay, not that Schultz was any great shakes either until Christian Kirk comes back. I'm not buying into, Hutchinson at all.
Do you know what it is for me? The offense just looks like it misses Tank Dell in every way. And we saw this last year. Like once Tank Dell went down, they have no speed vertically. So everybody crowds the line of scrimmage and dares Stroud to stay in there and throw the ball deep. And he can't because he doesn't have that receiver. I just wonder, you look at this Texans schedule coming up, and I really wonder, like, could this thing get really ugly for the offense in the near future?
And it's too bad, too, because that defense has got a lot of talent. They've got Tampa Bay coming up next. It's a Monday night game. And, next Monday they have a 10 p.m. Eastern start. It's the Chargers and the Raiders. I will be in bed. There's no way. Anyways, Tampa Bay's offense, good. Their defense, I mean, it's not great.
Not great.
So if Stroud is going to have any kind of success, and I don't trust him at all. Like, I don't care what the matchup is. I don't care what it is. He's a super flex at best until further notice, because this offense has got major question marks right now.
All right, that is it for today's show. We want to thank you for making Locked On Dynasty Football your first listen every single day. Go download the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We are free and available on all platforms. Follow Fabs on Twitter at Michael_Fabiano. I'm at Marcus_Mosher. Enjoy Monday Night Football. We'll see you back here on Tuesday to break it all down.